Nothing smells more like freedom than gasoline, blood, and someone else's eyes in your rearview mirror. That's the scent of the night, a metallic pulse under the skin of the city, beating in time with engines and bad decisions. Neon bleeds across the asphalt, lighting up the crowd gathered at the edge of the industrial district. Rusted warehouses, graffiti, cheap beer, and faster cars than anyone here deserves to drive. And me, Marlo, mechanic, street racer, occasional miracle worker, full-time pain in the ass. My hands are slick with oil, black under the nails, and I like it that way. Grease keeps people from trying to touch me. The smell of motor fuel drowns out the scent that always gives me away, the one I spend years burying. Omegas are supposed to wear collars, stay behind pack lines, play house pets. I'd rather choke on exhaust. 2 minutes, Tamsin says, knocking her wrench against the hood of my car. She's a beta, small, fierce, and smarter than every alpha in this district combined. Nitrous lines primed. You sure about that homemade manifold? I'm sure about everything, I lie, and it comes out smooth. The car hums like it's daring me to prove it. Then the crowd parts, and Trouble walks in on 2 legs. Farrell. He doesn't need an introduction. The crowd hushes the way prey does when a predator steps into the clearing. Ex-military, now wearing civilian leather like it's body armor. Dark hair cropped close, a scar running down his neck like a misplaced map line. There's a steadiness in his stride that screams alpha long before his scent. Hits the air, sharp metal, rain-soaked earth, the memory of gunpowder. And of course, behind him, the pack. Black Wolf. Jax, their leader, grins like a man who believes the world belongs to him by birthright. His gold tooth flashes when he speaks. Marlo, you've been running independent too long. Thought we'd offer you protection, safety, maybe even a mark, if you're lucky. The crowd murmurs. I keep leaning against my car, pretending my pulse isn't trying to outpace my heartbeat. Protection, I say. That what you call it now? Used to be possession, easier to pronounce. Jax's grin falters, but Farrell's doesn't change. He just watches me, expression unreadable, like he's cataloging the ways I might break. You've got a rare scent, he says finally. Our healers say it amplifies an alpha's control. You'd make the pack stronger, and you'd make me sick, I shoot back. So we're even. That earns a few laughs from the crowd, and a glare from Jax. Farrell only raises an eyebrow. Tell you what, I add, pushing off the fender. You want a mark? Catch me first. Tamsin groans. Marlo. But I'm already sliding into the driver's seat. The engine growls to life, a sound that feels more alive than half the people here. Farrell takes his place at the line beside me, cool and calm, no flash in his car, all muscle and precision, like the man himself. He looks over, eyes catching mine through the tinted glass. It's not dominance in that stare. It's curiosity, and that's somehow worse. Race for the shop, Jax calls out. You lose, Marlo. You come home to the pack. You win, we stay out of your business. Done, I say, without hesitation, because fear smells like weakness, and weakness gets you eaten. The starter raises a pistol. The crowd howls. Bang. I slam the clutch, and the night explodes. The first stretch is easy. Muscle memory and adrenaline. My car roars through puddles that mirror the broken lights above. Farrell's vehicle slides into view beside me, black paint gleaming like a predator's hide. He doesn't muscle his way ahead, he flows. Every shift of his gears is smooth, controlled. That military discipline seeps even into how he drives. I don't like it. I respect it. But I don't like it. We hit the first curve. Tires scream. The smell of burnt rubber and ozone fills the air. The crowd's roar fades into heartbeat thunder. For one glorious second, I'm ahead. Then Farrell glances at me through his side mirror and smirks. Cocky bastard, I mutter, shifting up. Let's see how you handle this. I flip the nitrous switch. The car lurches forward, every piston screaming. The world turns into streaks of color. Blue lights, smoke, the faint taste of metal in my mouth. Farrell's image disappears behind me. For a heartbeat, I feel like I've outrun every leash, every collar, every whisper that called me property. Then something snaps. a sound like metal splitting bone. The back-end fishtails, the homemade manifold bursting with a violent cough. The steering wheel jerks, my vision blurs. Shit! The street tilts sideways. The barrier looms. Time stretches like a bad rubber band. And then, impact. A shattering scream of metal on concrete. My seatbelt locks. Pain blooms across my ribs. The world spins, painted in fire and sparks. Through the blur, a second car swerves in. Too close, too fast, and hits me again, perfectly timed. But instead of sending me crashing into the wall, it shoves me straight. Forces the wheels back into alignment. He pushed me. Farrell, the bastard, pushed me back on track. I'm across the finish line before I realize it. Smoke pouring from under the hood. The crowd's cheers sound far away, muffled by the pounding in my head. I stumble out, coughing, half from adrenaline, half from disbelief. Farrell's already there, calm, steady. A streak of grease across his cheek like war paint. He crouches beside me, voice low. You okay? Define okay. I blink, trying to catch my breath. You nearly killed me. He tilts his head. Correction. I saved you. I laugh, sharp and breathless. You pushed me at 200 miles per hour. It worked. Yeah. Maybe next time try a text. He almost smiles. Almost. There's a ghost of something in his eyes. Not pity, not arrogance. Something quieter. Recognition, maybe. The look of a soldier who's seen the same war inside someone else. Behind us, Jax growls something about rules, about territory, about not being finished. But Farrell stands, his height blocking me from the crowd. Race is over, he says simply. He won. Jax's eyes flash gold, wolf just under the skin. You're protecting him? I'm following the rules, Farrell replies evenly. You made them. Jax spits on the ground, furious. But the pack obeys hierarchy. They pull back, muttering. The noise fades, leaving only the hum of broken engines and the metallic tang of adrenaline in the air. I push myself up, every muscle aching. Farrell offers a hand. I stare at it. Then at him. Then I take it, mostly because refusing would hurt my pride more than my ribs. His grip is warm, strong, controlled. The kind of hold that could crush or steady you, depending on intention. For a heartbeat too long, neither of us lets go. Then I pull back and wipe my palms on my jeans. Don't expect gratitude. I don't do rescue arcs. He smirks, faint and dangerous. Good. I don't do damsels. Great, I say. Then we'll never have to see each other again. Don't make promises you can't keep, he says quietly, and there's something in his tone that isn't threat, but prophecy. I turn away before my pulse betrays me. The crowd starts to scatter, the city exhales. The night smells like burned rubber and trouble. Tamsin jogs up, eyes wide. You're insane. Yeah, I say, watching Farrell's taillights disappear into the dark. But at least I'm free. She snorts. For now, I grin, tasting iron and defiance. For now sounds like forever compared to what they had planned. The engine ticks beside me, cooling metal hissing in rhythm with my heartbeat. The air feels heavier, charged, like something's waiting to ignite. And maybe it already has, because freedom smells a lot like gasoline. And tonight, I'm drenched in it. The garage breathes like a sleeping animal, slow, hot lungs made of concrete and dust. Fluorescents hum overhead, turning every drifting fleck into a lazy comet. Fans rattle against the back door, dragging in a thin ribbon of cool, river air that loses the fight the moment it crosses the threshold. It smells like oil, hot metal, and the coffee Tamsin insists tastes better when brewed in a repurposed coolant reservoir. I'm elbow deep in a stubborn caliper when the bell over the front roll-up gives a single decisive clang, not a jingle, a notice. Tell me its parts, I say without looking up. Tamsin peers around a tower of tires and mouths a word. Alpha. I wipe my hands on a rag already past redemption and step out from under the lifted Charger. He's framed in the garage door like a problem in need of solving. Farrell, jacket unzipped, hair darker in, the fluorescent light, a line of road dust drawing a diagonal across his cheek like someone underlined him. He's carrying a cardboard tray with 2 coffees that don't come from our reservoir, a peace offering with a handle. "You're back," I say, "to file a complaint about my driving?" "I came to check my brakes," he says, voice even. "My brakes or yours?" A corner of his mouth thinks about a smile. "That depends. Are yours working now?" "They always work." I throw the dead caliper into the bin. It lands with a satisfying clatter. "It's the people who don't." He steps in, nostrils flaring almost imperceptibly as the air changes from night to garage. Alpha senses catalog everything. It's a genetic habit I've learned to live around. His eyes skim over tool boards, the crooked calendar, the frame on restore in. Bay 3, the cracked mug that says, "Don't touch me" in Sharpie and grease. Then they find me and hold. "Jax," he begins. "Ah," I say. "There it is. The real reason. I'm not here to drag you anywhere." He lifts the tray. "Coffee? Bribery? Insurance," he says. "For your mood." Tamsin goes by, deft as a cat that learned to be a pickpocket. She takes 1 cup, sniffs it, and retreats to her fort of receipts without breaking eye contact with the alpha. I take the other cup because refusing would make a point I don't want to spend the rest of the morning defending. "Fine," I say. "If you're here to check the brakes, pull into Bay 2, and keep your hands where I can see them, soldier." He rolls the car in like he's docking a ship. Smooth, unshowy, exactly between the lines. I hate that his precision is attractive. I hate more that my body recognizes it before my brain gets to complain. We lift the hood. Heat breathes out. I lean in, and he does the same, shoulders brushing for half a second. The contact is small and catastrophic. The scent of rain on iron spins up behind my eyes. I step half a pace to the left and pretend the movement had something to do with reaching for a flashlight. "This hinge needs grease," he says, pointing with the kind of care you reserve for gun safeties and live wires. "You could have called," I say, checking the reservoir. We do pickup and delivery of obvious lies. His gaze flicks over my hands. "Jax is worried." "I'm not his." "That's not what he's worried about." "Of course it is," I say. "He wants leverage, not livestock." Silence stretches taut, then snaps. Farrell reaches past me for the roller seat without looking and sits, braced boots set precisely the same distance apart, forearms on thighs. He's a picture titled, "At Ease," painted by a man who's never felt it. Up close, the scar on his neck looks like a river through old stone. "You're good with engines," I say, because it annoys me. "Hands like a surgeon, tempo like a metronome." "Commanders learn every tool they order people to use," he replies. "If you're going to send a kid into a minefield with a busted axle, you'd better know what the fix should have been." The words hang there, oil thick. There are ghosts in the garage, and none of them belong to me. "How many?" I ask, softer than I mean to. He considers the question as if it has a right answer. "Enough that I hear their boots at night and count them instead of sheep." I slide the tray under the car, the flashlight beam a white river on dirty metal. "So, you follow orders to balance a ledger." He doesn't ask how I know. He just exhales. I was good at telling people what to do. Jax is good at giving me things to do. It simplifies the math. My laugh ricochets off the hood. "That's not math. That's penance dressed in dog tags." Another pause. The fans drone. Pushing heat from one corner of the room to another like that will change its nature. He leans forward, elbows on knees, and stares into the engine bay like it might answer for me. "What do you want, Marlo?" he asks. "Today? Your pads need changing, and your rear caliper is sulking. Tomorrow? A world where I can stand in my own garage without a line of wolves arguing about ownership." He looks up. No collar, no mark. "My neck's not a billboard," I say, "and my scent's my business." His throat works once. Maybe it's the coffee. Maybe it's a word he didn't say. We work. It's easier than talking. Metal is honest. You turn and it answers. Sweat crawls down my spine. My shirt sticks between my shoulder blades. Every time he hands me a tool, I feel the deference of it, an alpha offering, not demanded. Every time our knuckles brush, something low in my gut tightens like a belt yanked a notch. We're a problem set in motion, torque numbers and animal math. You keep your tools in the wrong order, he says lightly, after an hour has bled into an afternoon. I keep them in my order, I reply. People who don't live here don't have to understand it. He grunts. I lived in places where understanding wasn't optional. War zones? He doesn't blink. Homes. The word lands like a dropped wrench. I slide the new pads in and sit back. Do you have one? His jaw ticks. He looks, for the first time since he walked in, a little lost. Like the room's map just changed and he didn't get the update. Used to, he says. Left it somewhere I can't go back. I don't tell him I understand. I fasten the caliper. When I reach for the torque wrench, my shoulder brushes his again. It's nothing. It's everything. He inhales, sudden, sharp, and the air he draws isn't coffee and coolant anymore. It's me, not the grease, not the gasoline. Beneath the camouflage, under years of careful contamination, the truth. The omega line in my scent, like a bass note only wolves hear. I feel it the way you feel lightning right before it strikes, a pressure change pressed against my skin. Farrell's eyes flicker, pupils widening, before he slams the door on the thing behind them. Back under my wheels again, soldier? I say, because jokes are armor and I never leave home without one. Just checking the brakes, he answers, voice lower than a minute ago. Mine or yours? Silence. That single half-smile dies, unkissed. His hand lifts, slow, deliberate, until it hovers 2 inches from my throat. Not touching, not claiming. The air between his palm and my skin buzzes like an electric fence. Every hair on my body pulls toward the warmth of him, a compass needle near true north. He stops there, trembling so faintly that only someone who's learned to read stress fractures would notice. Inside him, the wolf moves. You don't see it. You feel it, pressure building behind the eyes, the jaw, the ribs. It wants, not ruin, not violence. Something far more dangerous when you've sworn not to need, closeness. The animal part of me answers before I can silence it, scent blooming, pulse tripping over itself to get to him. Farrell, I warn, but it's not really a warning. More like a name I forgot could be a prayer. His fingers curl in on themselves, denied orders. He takes one clean step back, as precise as a soldier on parade, and the tension snaps like an over-tightened belt. I'm not here for that, he says, breathing hard without making a sound of it. What are you here for? To keep you from getting killed, he says, and to keep me from doing the killing if someone gives the wrong order. My laugh is a cracked bottle. So noble, so bleak, practical, he says, and drags in air like it hurts. He looks at the floor drain, at the wall clock, at anything that isn't my mouth. You should know, Jax is going to double down. The more you refuse, the more he'll frame it as defiance. It is defiance, I say. That's the point. His gaze lifts. Some of us were trained to kneel fast so we could stand later. Yeah? I hand him the wrench. How's that working out? He takes it, knuckles ghosting mine. A static pop, tiny and rude. He flinches like it was louder. You're not marked, he says. And the words are flat stones thrown into a lake, one after another, measuring depth. I'm not yours, I correct, because the difference is the only rope I have in this conversation, or anyone's. I know, he says quietly. That's why I stepped back. The wrench in my hand is suddenly too heavy. I swallow and aim for casual. Congratulations, you survived the first round without bites. Something like a smile finds the edge of his mouth again. I've survived worse. I'm sure, I say, and it's gentler than I meant. But this garage has rules. No collars, no orders. Coffee only if Tamsin doesn't spit in it. From the office, Tamsin raises her mug without looking up. I reserve the right. Farrell exhales a sound that might be a laugh in another life. The wolf behind his eyes settles, still wary, still pacing, but no longer slamming itself against the bars. We finish the brakes. We don't talk about the ghost between us. the 2 inches that nearly burned. He pays in cash, leaves too much, and I push the extra back at him with a look that says, "Don't try me." He tucks the cash away without argument. He doesn't offer a hand this time. We both know how that went last night. At the threshold, he pauses. The fans rattle. Heat presses down. Outside, the sky has the look of rain it might not deliver. "Marlo," he says. I look up. "If Jax comes here with orders, I'll be the one he sends. I want you to know that before you see me at your door, so I can slam it faster, so you can decide whether to open it at all." I tip my chin toward the street. "Drive safe, soldier." He nods once and goes, taking the rain-on iron with him. The garage exhales, lungs deflating around me. I stand there a long minute, listening to the fans, feeling the echo of a hand that didn't touch my throat, and a want I shouldn't admit to. Tamsin appears at my elbow, quiet as a pulled fuse. "You're playing with fire. Their kind always think they invented it," I mutter. "And you?" she asks. I toss the rag in the bin. It misses, flops half in like a shrug. "I prefer heavy metal." She groans. "That pun should be a crime." "Then call the cops," I say, reaching for the next job. "But tell them to bring real coffee." Behind my ribs, something paces. It counts steps. It learns a route. It refuses to call itself by the one word I promised never to need. Home. I clamp the thought in a vise and turn the wrench until it stops moving. Rain in this city never falls clean. It drags the soot down with it, turns the alleys into veins of black glass, makes the streetlights bleed. It's past midnight when the knock comes. 2 hard raps, 1 pause, 1 more. Military rhythm. Not Tamsin. Not a customer. I open the side door just enough to see him. Farrell stands under the rusted awning, soaked through. His jacket's torn along one shoulder, and blood seeps down his arm in thin, stubborn lines. Even under the metallic tang of the storm, his scent hits me. Iron, pain, wolf. The kind of mix that makes instincts wake up and stretch their claws. "Need a mechanic," he says, voice rougher than usual. "You need a hospital," I answer. "You're leaking on my floor." He sways once. Hospital's full of pack doctors and questions. I sigh, drag him inside, and lock the door behind him. "Fine. But if you die, I'm charging double." He almost smiles. The ghost of it. "Deal." The garage is quiet, except for the rain drumming the roof. I flick the lights lower. He sits on the workbench, leaving dark stains where water pools under him. The smell of blood is sharp, unfiltered. I grab the medkit from the shelf. Gauze, antiseptic, tape, things that fix cars and people when necessary. Take off the jacket. He hesitates. Then, slowly, he peels it off. The shirt underneath is half torn, soaked red at the shoulder. His muscles shift under the skin. A map of scars, old and new. Who did this? Not your problem. Then maybe you shouldn't be dripping on my tools. He gives a low huff, more breath than laugh. The iron fangs. They were scouting near the docks. Thought they'd send a message. You send one back? Enough of them won't be writing for a while. Good, I mutter, cleaning the wound. He doesn't flinch when the antiseptic hits. Just watches me, steady. It's unnerving, how he can look at you like he's memorizing the way you exist. Hold still, I say. Wasn't planning to dance. I press a gauze pad to his shoulder, my fingers brushing the line of his neck. His skin is hot, fevered from adrenaline. Our breaths tangle in the small space between us. Why didn't you call your pack? Because I didn't want to owe them more than I already do. And what do you owe? He looks past me, not avoiding exactly, searching for words that won't sound weak. Orders, he says finally. Obedience. I follow what Jax gives me because it's easier than thinking about what I'd choose on my own. So you're a good soldier? I was. He exhales through his nose. Until good stopped meaning right. I tape the gauze down. His pulse beats against my thumb, steady but strong. You don't like alphas much, he says quietly. That obvious? You flinch when we take up space. I don't flinch, I say, and my voice comes out sharper than I want. He looks at me again. No challenge, no pity, just calm. You hide your scent, even now. That's self-preservation, or fear. I glare at him. You think you know fear, soldier? Freedom is a luxury for people without a scent. For the rest of us, it's survival. You can't run from what's printed in your skin. Something flickers in his eyes. Understanding. Guilt. The kind of empathy that isn't pity, but recognition. I don't want to own anyone, Marlo, he says. That's not who I am, but you still follow the man who does. He doesn't argue. That silence says more than any excuse could. The wound is worse than I thought, deep enough that the bleeding doesn't want to stop. I lean in closer, press down harder. He grunts. Sorry, don't be. His breath ghosts my cheek. Hot. Close. You smell like rain. Stop talking. He chuckles, low and broken. Can't. Hurts less. Then talk about something stupid. Like what? Like why you came here instead of anywhere else. He looks at me, really looks, and for a moment the soldier is gone. What's left is just a man. Tired, bleeding, maybe a little lost. Because, he says, I trust you to patch me up without trying to tame me. The words catch me off guard. I stare at him, heart kicking against my ribs. Don't get poetic on me. He smiles barely. Wouldn't dare. I pull another strip of tape. My hand slips on the gauze, fingers grazing his throat. His breath hitches. The pulse there leaps under my skin. And something clicks. It's not a sound, more like a shift in the air, a vibration that moves through me like lightning caught in glass. For one heartbeat, the space between us vanishes. My scent blooms, unguarded, oil, smoke, and the faint sweetness that betrays what I am. His wolf answers. Instinct takes over before thought can interfere. I press the pad to his neck to stop the blood. The moment my fingers touch, his eyes go dark gold, pupils blown wide. He exhales my name like it's something holy. The bond flares, faint, invisible, but real. A mark not bitten or branded, just felt. My scent threads through his like wire into flame. I feel it hit him. The recognition, the belonging, and it terrifies me. I snatch my hand back. The room spins. The air tastes electric. He blinks, dazed, his voice rough. Marlo. What? Don't. My voice cracks. Just don't move. He starts to speak again, but the exhaustion wins. His head drops forward, and he's out cold before I can decide whether to run. For a long minute, I just stand there, hands still shaking. The faint shimmer of the connection burns at the edge of my senses. His scent braided with mine, subtle but undeniable. It's not a full claim, not even conscious, but it's enough. Enough for any alpha to know what it means. I look at him, this stupid, noble, dangerous man, slumped against the workbench, blood drying, jaw slack with sleep. He looks younger like this, softer. You idiot, I whisper. Both of us. Panic settles in like cold metal. I can't let this stay. If Jack smells this, if anyone smells this, it's over. They'll think I submitted. They'll think I belong. I grab the solvent we use to strip old oil stains off engines. It stings before I even touch it. I soak a rag and press it to his neck, scrubbing, erasing the trace until only raw skin remains. The air fills with the chemical tang of guilt. I work until the smell of us both fades under the sharp bite of ethanol and grease. Until the mark is nothing but memory. When I'm done, I slump against the wall, dizzy. He sleeps through all of it, breathing slow, deep, steady. His body already healing what little I left behind. Outside, thunder cracks, loud enough to shake the walls. I stay awake till dawn, because someone has to. Morning filters through the garage windows, pale and cold. Farrell wakes with a groan, stretching his shoulder. The wound's close to a scar already. Guess your hands are steadier than you claim, he says, voice hoarse. Guess your healing's faster than advertised. He studies me like he's searching for something. An echo, a memory, a scent that's gone. His brows knit. Feels weird, he murmurs. Like something's missing. Probably blood, I say quickly, too light, too casual. He frowns, unconvinced. But he lets it go. When he stands, the space feels colder. The spot where the bond was hums faintly under my skin, aching with absence. He thanks me, quiet, leaves, before I can say anything stupid. The rain stopped, but the air still smells like it wants to start again. I sit at my workbench, staring at my hands, stained with oil, blood, and something invisible I can't wash off. He looked for my scent this morning, reached for it, like a man finding his way in the dark, and I erased it. I stare at my palms until they blur, and whisper to the empty room. He was looking for home, and I wiped it away like a sin. The city's old racetrack isn't a circle so much as a scar, a chopped-up ribbon of asphalt stitched between shipping containers, and dead cranes, its grandstands long since cannibalized for scrap. When it rains, and it always rains here, the puddles turn to neon mirrors. Tonight, they burn blue and red and sickly green, the kind of colors you see right before a bad idea. I'm under the hood of the Falcon, chasing a misfire through a tangle of wires, while Tamsin times me, like this is a game show, and doom is the prize. Idle's hunting, she says, crouched with a scanner that has seen better centuries. You sure about that crank sensor? I'm sure about everything, I say. And we both ignore that we've heard this lie before. The rain thickens until it becomes a sound more than a weather pattern. The fans of the track spin lazily, pushing wet air around as if humidity is a territorial dispute they can adjudicate. Then, the wind shifts. Not the weather, the scent, leather cured in smoke, rust, wet fur, and under it, copper and sweet rot. Pheromones that don't belong to wolves or humans, but something in the middle, bottled and sold on the worst corners of the internet. Tamsin's head snaps up. Marlo, I smell it, I say, already moving. They come out of the container maze like sharks breaking the surface. 4, then 6, then more. Iron fangs. Their jackets stitched with metal plates. Their eyes bright with borrowed bravado. Predators who learn to monetize hunger. Evening, sweetheart, the lead one says. He's big, but not Farrell big. His size is borrowed from armor and angle, not bone. We heard you've been running independent. That's a dangerous hobby for a rare scent. I step in front of Tamsin without thinking. You must be new. We don't do door to door. Not a door. He smiles too many teeth. A collection. You owe. For what? I ask. For existing outside an invoice, he says, and then they're moving. The first comes low, fast. I throw the wrench in my hand at his knee. It connects with an ugly thock. He snarls, stumbles, and I'm already pivoting to duck the second one's swing. The third grabs Tamsin, yanking her back. She bites him, because of course she does. He yelps. I plant an elbow in his throat and pry her free. Go! I shove her toward the trailer. Lock it. What about now? She runs. I turn to meet the next hit, and the world rearranges. It's not that I see him first. I feel him, like the gravity of a larger planet sliding into orbit, tugging every compass needle inside me true north. Farrell hits the ground between me and the iron fangs in a clean, practiced roll. He rises like a loaded spring, and someone pulls the trigger. The first attacker catches a forearm to the jaw that sounds like a bat breaking. The second reaches for a knife. The knife skitters into a puddle 2 seconds later, followed by the hand that held it. Nice of you to drop by, I say, because jokes are oxygen when the air turns thin. Checking my brakes, he says, not looking at me. Yours or mine. We'll decide later. Cute. Efficient, he corrects. And then there's no time for words. The fight becomes geography. Containers ring the track like crooked teeth. We use them for cover and bounce. Farrell moves the way he drives. No wasted motion, each strike a line drawn between points on a map only he can see. I'm less art, more chaos. Feints, wrenches, a jagged rhythm that pretends to be clumsy until it isn't. They try gas next, little spheres lobbed low, fizzing across the wet concrete. Not smoke. Scent. Artificial sweet mixed with animal chemical, engineered to scramble omega instincts and spike alpha rage. My lungs seize. The edges of my vision fuzz with angry gold. Mask. Farrell barks, already shoving a bandana into my hand. He ties his own with tactical neatness, eyes narrowing above it as the pheromone haze lifts just enough to choose targets instead of want. We fall back toward the line of trailers. Something explodes near the starting pylons. Fuel drum, bad welding, hard to say. Fire climbs a steel ladder into the rain before the downpour smothers it with a hiss that sounds like 1,000 snakes exhaling. Left! I shout, and he obeys without asking why. I pull us around a stack of tires right before a metal pipe whistles through the space where his head was. Thanks, he grunts. Don't get sentimental on me. Wouldn't dare. We make the trailer just as 2 more iron fangs break from the pack at a dead sprint. Farrell pivots, plants, and uses one attacker's momentum to introduce him to the trailer wall. The second grabs for me. I let him, then twist hard, yank his arm across my shoulder, and feel his elbow pop. He howls. I don't feel bad. Inside, Farrell says. Ladies first. He glares, but he's already kicking the door open. We tumble into the cramped space. Tools, spare parts. A cot Tamsin swears isn't cursed. The door slams. The bolt slides. The world outside turns into fists on metal. For a second, the noise dims, and there's only breath. Mine. His. The rain hammering so hard it sounds like static. You hit? He asks. Nothing important, I say, checking for blood and immediately finding it. My shirt is torn high on the ribs where a knife kissed too close, and the cut is more persistent than deep. Okay, maybe a little important. Sit, he orders. This garage, I pant, has rules. This trailer has mine, he says, already moving. He finds the med kit as if he's been here 100 times, cracks it one-handed, and turns back. To me with gauze, and that look he gets. The one that could be command but somehow isn't. He steps in, too close. His hand presses me back against the wall, gentle as a threat. The trailer is suddenly very small. Hold, he says, and I do. Not because he told me to, but because the world outside us is too loud to survive without a still point. He lifts my shirt, careful. His fingers are warm, sure. He cleans the cut like the rain cleans the track, relentlessly, because that's the only way it works. It stings. I bite the inside of my cheek and taste copper that's mine. Stop breathing like that, I mutter. Like what? Like you're memorizing it. His eyes flick up. Very dark. Very calm. Maybe I am. The pounding outside escalates. Fists, boots, something heavier. They'll breach, I say. 10 seconds, if they brought a bar. 9, he corrects, and slaps tape across the gauze. He's close enough that his breath ghosts my mouth, hot and precise. His hand is still at my side, splayed like he's the only thing keeping my ribs from coming apart. I hear the first metal scream, the doorframe giving a centimeter under force. I'm not your quarry, I say, because if I don't say something clever, I might say something true. His gaze drops to my mouth, then lower, to where his fingers bracket my hip. He swallows hard. Then why do you smell like home? The room tilts. The thread between us, faint, invisible, mostly memory, hums once, like a wire plucked. I drag a breath that's half a laugh and half a warning. Because someone left a window open, I manage, and didn't like what blew in. He closes his eyes, like it hurts. When he opens them, the soldier's back, sharpened. He steps away so fast, the air between us cools. On my mark, he says, voice clipped. 2 through the door, you take low, I'll take stupid. Stupid? The one who believes he's immortal, he says, and flips the bolt. The door flies open. The first iron fang lunges. I hit him low, shoulder to knee, and he goes down hard, spine greeting floor. The second tries to vault Farrell and meets an elbow that has opinions about flight. Something breaks, a nose or a plan. Outside, the pack surges, then hesitates. You can smell it when courage thinks about quitting. Out, Farrell says. We move as one. Him a blade, me the unexpected angle. We chase them into the rain, through neon puddles that turn every footfall into lava lamp chaos. Someone throws a chain, I duck, and it sings past to wrap a post like a bad promise. Farrell grabs the free end and yanks a man off his feet with insultingly little effort. A spark leaps from a generator to a fuel spill, fire crawls under a car, and coughs up a flame that licks across wet metal, disgusted but hungry. Wet fur fills the air as one of them shifts halfway, claws out, teeth bared. Farrell steps between me and the almost wolf like a reflex he didn't get to choose. He growls, low, human larynx ugly, and for a breath, the iron fang remembers that prey doesn't talk back. Sirens in the distance, not for us, for somewhere else. This city's emergency meter stays pinned. Enough, their leader barks, backing toward the containers. He presses a rag to his split lip and glares at me over it. This isn't done, pretty scent. Get in line, I say, smiling with all my teeth. They fade into the maze. The rain pours applause no one wants. We stand there breathing, steam rising off us where heat meets weather. Tamsin cracks the trailer door 2 inches. Are we dead? Not yet, I say. Cool, she says, and shuts it again. Farrell scrubs a hand over his face, smearing rain and blood into a new map. He looks at the track like a battlefield he didn't choose, and then at me like a choice he just did. They'll hit you again, he says. Harder. They already did, I answer, gesturing at the cut. Just a scratch. And your garage, he says. If they can't take you, they'll take what you live inside. I think of the Silver Fang garage, the crooked calendar, the oil-stained mug, the heat that belongs to us because we made it with our hands. My stomach drops. We go now, I say. He nods. We go together. The word hooks something under my ribs and pulls. You'll be in so much trouble, I tell him, because humor fits better than fear. Jax won't like that you're helping the local Omega unionize. I'm not helping you, he says, mouth almost a smile. I'm helping me disobey a stupid order. Partners in crime, then. Partners in war, he corrects, and somehow it lands softer. We jog through the rain toward the exit, Tamsin at our heels with a crowbar and a grin that would make a priest reconsider vocation. We pile into the Falcon. The engine catches like it's happy to be needed. As we pull away, the track shrinks in the mirrors, a wet, steaming mouth that just tried to swallow us. Farrell drives. I watch the city's lights smear into lines. The cut at my ribs throbs in time with the wipers. Why'd you come? I ask finally, staring out at the slick ribbon of road. He doesn't pretend not to understand, because the second I smelled them on the wind, something in me went hunting. And because he stops, changes lanes, chooses an easier truth. Because Jax told me to stay away. I laugh, sharp and fond against my will. You always this cooperative? Only when I want to live, he says. And right now, living looks a lot like getting your garage back. The city opens ahead, wet and feral and ours. The smell of burned metal lingers in my mouth. The wolf in the passenger seat doesn't touch me, and somehow that steadies me more than if he had. Partners in war, then. For tonight, that's enough. The hangar looks like a ribcage someone ripped out of the city and left to rust. Music roars from speaker stacks lashed to scaffolding. Feral bass, a war drum with a death wish. Neon tubes strobe, painting the wet concrete in cuts of sickly pink and fever blue. People press in anywhere there's space to stand and gamble, their breath turning to steam that mixes with exhaust. The whole place smells like gasoline and rain, and the kind of choices you don't get to take back. Iron Fang's banners hang crooked from the rafters. Makeshift barriers carve a track out of chaos. Oil drums, chain link, a line of wrecked cars welded into a guardrail. It isn't a race so much as a trap with a playlist. Tamsin squeezes my arm hard enough to bruise. I hate this. Me too, I say. I'm lying. I'm wired. Not for the blood sport. Never for that. But for the pulse that starts in my fingers the second I touch a wheel. For the way Farrell is already scanning the course like he's back on a field where minds don't blink. He stands too close and not close enough. Jacket zipped, eyes darker than the shadows. Our shoulders bump. Every place we touch jolts like a shorted wire. We're not talking about last night. We're not talking about the non-mark I made and wiped clean. We're not talking about the ache I woke to. Phantom as a limb that isn't gone. Rules, a voice barks. The Iron Fang's ringleader, cropped hair, too white smile, steps onto a shipping pallet turned stage. Pairs race, 1 lap. You and your partner cross the line or you don't cross it at all. Winner keeps their territory. Losers. He grins wider. Donate. I don't need the explanation. A cooler sits beside him with medical tubing like party streamers. Some crowds come for speed. This one came for the taking. Farrell's hand brushes my elbow, small as a secret. We do this fast, he says. Together. Like always, I say, and ignore the way the word always catches. We climb into the car. My car, patched from last week's near death, new manifold gleaming like a dare. Farrell slides into the passenger seat without argument. It feels wrong. It feels right. He's not the kind of alpha who wrestles you for a wheel when you're better at the driving. He's the kind who learns your rhythm and plays the second part. 2-man teams, I murmur, watching the other cars slot into place. 4 of them. If you count the packs of wolves in human skin lining the rails, claws just under the nails. 3-man enemy, he says, deadpan. I snort, despite myself. You, and that math. Keep mine on the road, and I'll keep theirs off of it. Deal. The starter staggers out with a flare. Sparks spit. The bass drops into something subsonic, designed to rattle bones and shudder judgment. Marlo, Farrell says. Low. I glance at him. He's not looking at me. He's looking at the curve of my neck, jaw clenched, wolf a shadow behind his eyes. Not wild. Not yet. Hungry, in a way we don't name. I feel my scent stir, oil and smoke, and that softer thing I try to hide. The flare goes off. Red fire. White smoke. We launch. The first straightaway is a gauntlet. Bodies pressing against barriers, hands reaching, cameras out. Tires scream through water. The car behind tries to tap my bumper. I brake then gas. A staccato heartbeat that sends him fishtailing into the rail. Metal shrieks. The crowd howls like wolves at a moon made of wreckage. Left, Farrell says. I'm already turning. They stacked tires 2 rows deep. Inside lines cleaner. I see it. Do you? Yes, soldier. The name is a grin with teeth. Eyes open. We slide through the corner. He reaches to adjust the nitrous line without looking, doing with fingers what he could do with orders. Tamsin's patch job holds. The engine surges like something that also wants to live. A pair of iron fangs in a chopped Civic tries to box us at the chicane. Farrell's hand clamps my thigh, firm, anchoring, not possessive. Physics. I thread the gap. The Civic kisses the guardrail, showers us in sparks. Car to your 4, he says, already twisting to eyeball it through the back glass. They've got a battering ram hidden behind that license plate. Cute. It'll be cuter when it's in your radiator. I grin. Then don't let it. He doesn't. When the ram lunges, Farrell unclips his seatbelt, half rises, and kicks the glove box. It springs. He yanks a length of chain free, my emergency tow, and slings it out the passenger window with a flick that would make a snake jealous. It catches on the Civic's ram. The chain goes taut, then yanks, wrenching their front end sideways. They spin. The crowd screams approval that smells like adrenaline and coins. Useful, I say. Don't tell Jax, he says, breathless. He thinks I only do brute force. We hit the back straight. The speaker stacks shudder so hard it makes the windshield jitter. Ahead, the ringleader's pallet stage turns into a blur of lights and leers. He raises an arm, drops it. There's a hiss like soda opening. Grenades! Farrell snaps. Masks. My brain stutters. Masks? He's already shoving a cloth square into my hand, the kind we keep by the cutting torch. I slap it to my face a beat before a cloud breaks over the track, glittering like rain that makes wrong promises. My eyes water. My body knows it before my head does. Pheromones. Not the playful kind. Not the legal kind. Concentrated heat built in a lab run by men who'd sell your bones. It rolls into the car through every crack in the world. Farrell inhales once, and the wolf hits the bars hard enough to bend them. His pupils blow, his breath judders. The scent turns his control to glass. "Farrell," I say, one hand on the wheel, the other on his chest. "Stay with me." He chokes on the word. "Get back." "I can't, and won't." The car surges. We're still racing. Their science is designed to make omega bodies sing and alpha bodies break. Mine sparks, fizz at the edge of my senses, but I've been muting myself for years. I know how to turn the volume down. Farrell's control is a thing he earned by strangling feeling. You can't strangle gas. He turns toward me, slow, like a tide, lips pulled back from teeth that look too white and too sharp in the strobe. He's beautiful in the awful way of a storm you see from the wrong side of a window. "Stand back," I whisper. "This isn't you." He's close enough that the warmth of him climbs my throat. The car bucks over a seam I correct without thinking. His hand comes up, hesitating, trembling, hovering an inch from my neck, the air between us bright and dangerous. He isn't going for the wheel. He's going for me. "Farrell." My voice cracks. The track narrows. The finish line is a smudge I can barely make out through chemical glitter. "Look at me." He does. For a split second, the soldier looks out of the wolf's eyes, confused and furious at being confused. I make a choice I should have made nights ago. I take my hand off the wheel. His name is a prayer I'm tired of pretending I don't say. I reach for his throat, for the place where pulse and breath tell the truth. My fingers find the spot I erased. The skin there is hot, as if the absence still burns. "You were already mine," I tell him, soft as an oath. "I just didn't tell you." Contact. The world reorders. It isn't a flash, it's a flare, quiet and absolute. My scent threads into his, like a fuse catching, like a signature written over a forged one. Not a bite, not a bruise, something older than both. It sears through both of us, a circuit completed that we both pretended didn't exist. Farrell inhales like drowning men break the surface. The wolf slams to its knees, his eyes clear from gold to human dark in a blink that feels like a miracle and a battlefield. "Marlo," he says, on an exhale that sounds like a please and a thank you at once. I grab the wheel with my other hand. We're still racing. The pheromone mist thins around us, shredded by speed, by the stubbornness of air that refuses to be told what to carry. The car to our left pulls level. I goose the nitrous. The engine screams. We shoot past another wreck I don't have time to admire. "Right side stack is loose," Farrell says. Voice hoarse, but back. I love him with a violence that feels like a problem for later. "If you cut in and clip it, it'll topple," I finish and swerve. The stack goes down in a crash that feels like applause. Sparks waterfall across the track. The iron fangs behind us skid into the debris and eat it. We come out of the final curve side by side with the last contender, a matte gray monster with its headlights blacked out like a shark's eyes. The finish line is 20 car lengths away. I can hear Tamsin somewhere in the crowd, screaming words I'll pretend later she didn't know. "Together," Farrell says. And it's not a command. It's the shape of the way he is with me now. Offer, not order. "Together," I echo, and floor it. We cross so tight, there's no way to tell which bumper kissed the line first. Our hoods screaming, their engine coughing blood. I don't wait for the call. I pull the e-brake. We spin a half circle and end facing backward at the chaos we left. For a heartbeat, the hangar is a perfect photograph. Then the world unpauses. The Iron Fangs leader shouts something I can't hear over the crowd's animal noise. Someone throws a bottle. It breaks on the concrete like rain trying too hard. Another car catches fire with the breezy inevitability of television. When the bass drops again, it's drowned by alarms and screaming, and the kind of laughter that means someone thinks a fight is foreplay. Farrell is already out of the car. I'm half a second behind him. The leader's men are coming, fast, features blurring into the kind of grins that don't stop at skin. Farrell moves like a door slamming, clean, decisive. He puts one down with a forearm to the throat, and another with a wrench he didn't have a second ago. I handle the third with a tire iron and everything I've ever wanted to say to men who call ownership protection. More come. We give better than we get. The pheromone cloud is a ghost now, useless as a threat. Fire crawls up a banner. Heat licks our faces. Somewhere, an engine throws a rod hard enough that the shrapnel whistles. Time to go, I say. Agreed, he says, and we run. We don't make it far before the ringleader steps into our path, a pistol casual in his hand like a new toy. He raises it at me, and Farrell moves without thinking. Between, the barrel kisses his sternum. The man grins. You two just cost me money. Send me an invoice, I say. Or, he says, you donate. He squeezes the trigger. Nothing happens. The look on his face is almost worth my legs turning to water. Farrell tilts his head, not a smile, not exactly, and opens his fist to show the gun's pin. I don't ask when he took it. I don't ask how. Men like him are made of practiced miracles. The ringleader lunges. Farrell palms his face and introduces it to a steel post. He slides down it like he's finally learned something. The room tilts toward riot, as the rest of the crowd realizes the show's over and they might be next. We get to the car. The hood is smoking. The tires are crying. She's still beautiful. We blast a path through a closing door, jump a line of cables I'll apologize to later, and shoot out into rain that's finally decided to keep all the promises it's been threatening. Only when the hangar shrinks in the rear view do I breathe. We pull under an overpass slick with graffiti and history. The engine ticks. Our lungs try to remember they aren't engines. Farrell leans his head back against the seat and laughs once, disbelieving. Are we alive? He asks. For now, I say, which is longer than I thought. Silence. The rain hushes the world. The air inside the car is us, concentrated, ash and metal, and that warmer note that makes my ribs ache. He turns toward me. Not the wolf. Him. You erased my mark. I meet his eyes, because I owe him that. Not yours. Mine. The words hurt and heal at the same time. I just wasn't ready to share it. He considers that like a mechanic looks at a noise, diagnosing for truth rather than comfort. He nods once, as if we've agreed to the terms of a ceasefire written on the inside of our throats. Then you should know, he says, voice low, steady. I don't want to own you. I know, I say. I want to choose you. Something in him unclenches, not a big thing. A hinge, maybe. A latch. He reaches, slow enough that I can make a new choice if I need to, and rests his palm over the place where my pulse stutters against skin. Not claiming, not asking. There. My scent rises to meet him like warmth to a hand held out of the blanket. The connection glows, not a brand, not a chain, a circuit. The wolf rolls over and shows its throat to no one but me. Somewhere behind us, a banner falls and a fire dies and a man with a broken nose learns to call a day lost. Somewhere ahead, Jax is sharpening an order. We'll deal with him, with all of them. For now, in the hush under the bridge, our breaths find the same rhythm and the rain sounds like applause. Together, he says. Together, I answer. And when I say it this time, it doesn't catch. It settles. Like a car finally dropping into the right gear. We pull back onto the road as the city exhales, and for the first time since I taught myself to hide my own name, I don't. Morning light creeps through the dusty windows of the rebuilt garage, soft and gold like forgiveness. The smell is the same as always, oil, steel, and burnt coffee, but the air feels different, lighter, like the place finally learned how to breathe again. Farrell is crouched over the coffee machine like it's a bomb, which, given the amount of steam coming out of it, might not be far from the truth. Pretty sure it's not supposed to hiss like that, I say, leaning on the counter with a wrench still in hand. He doesn't look up. Pretty sure you said it was fine. I said it worked yesterday. Then something broke overnight. Probably your patience, I mutter. He gives me that look, half soldier, half man trying to remember what humor feels like, and twists another valve. The machine sputters, coughs, and spits brown liquid straight onto his shirt. I bite my lip, trying not to laugh. It doesn't work. Stop, he says, deadpan. I'm not even saying anything. You're thinking it loud enough to cause interference. Fine, I say, holding up my hands. But, if you blow it up, I'm not fixing it. He glances up, eyes gleaming with mock gravity. Then we'll both have coffee with a hint of destiny. That earns him a laugh, the kind that feels like sunlight after a storm. The garage hums around us, rebuilt walls, fresh paint, everything still carrying the faint echo of chaos and the smell of survival. Half the tools are new, the other half are scarred veterans that refuse to die. Outside, I can hear the rumble of bikes and cars pulling in one by one. Members of the Black Wolf Pack, but not as muscle this time. Customers, allies, sometimes even friends. Jax's little empire cracked after the Iron Fangs fell apart, and somewhere, in that power vacuum, Farrell stopped being the Pack's weapon. Now he's just, here, my partner, in work, in something we don't name out loud but everyone can smell anyway. Tamsin breezes in, carrying 2 boxes of spark plugs and a smirk sharp enough to cut. So this is what peace looks like, an alpha trying to fix an espresso machine? An ex-alpha, I correct, taking one of the boxes. Farrell snorts. I didn't get demoted. No, Tamsin says. You got civilized. He gives her a look. She grins. Hey, someone had to say it. She plops herself on a stool, watching the two of us move around the shop like she's front row at a comedy show. You know, she says, a few months ago you two were trying to kill each other. Now you're running a business. That's progress. Business, I repeat, tapping a wrench against my palm. You mean the thing where half our clients pay in cash and the other half in stolen auto parts? She shrugs. Still more stable than your love life. I drop the wrench on purpose. It clangs so loud she flinches. Farrell's laugh breaks out before he can hide it. Traitor, I mutter. He raises his coffee mug, one of the few survivors of the explosion at the hangar, and smirks. She's not wrong. Et tu, soldier? He gestures to the garage. Partnership means honesty. Partnership, Tamsin repeats, dragging the word like a cat with a dead bird. That what we're calling it now? Get to work, I say, but I'm smiling when I say it. By afternoon, the garage smells like victory and engine grease. Farrell's fixed the coffee machine, or maybe the machine gave up trying to out-stubborn him. Either way, it works. Tamsin's gone on a parts run, muttering something about ordering less testosterone and more brake pads. We're alone again, which is dangerous territory for people who learn to survive on tension. He's leaning over a carburetor, sleeves rolled up, sunlight tracing the scars along his forearm. I'm pretending to work, but mostly just watching him. You know, I say, if you keep fixing everything that breaks, I'll be out of a job. He doesn't look up. You'll find something else to fight. Probably you. Probably, he agrees. And that smile, small, private, unguarded, hits harder than any punch I've taken in my life. There's quiet for a while, just the tick of cooling metal, the faint buzz of the radio in the corner. The kind of quiet that feels earned. You ever think, he says finally, about what comes next? Like what? Like when the next pack shows up, or the next war, or the next stupid idea you have that ends in an explosion. I smirk. You mean Tuesday? He shakes his head, fighting a grin. I mean, after all that. I wipe my hands on a rag and look around. The rebuilt garage, the sunlight. I think maybe I'm tired of running, I say. Maybe I just want to build something that doesn't catch fire. He nods slowly. Then we'll build it together. The words settle somewhere deep, quiet, and sure. I don't need to say good. I just nod back. Evening falls like it's been waiting for permission. Neon from the street outside spills in through the open doors, painting everything in soft color, chrome, glass, sweat. The hum of the city fades into something like music. Farrell's wiping down a wrench, hands steady as always. I'm leaning on the fender of a newly restored engine, the metal gleaming like a mirror. The reflection throws our shapes back at us, blurred by the light, but unmistakably ours. You know what they say, I tell him, quietly. Metal's cold. He glances up, one brow raised. But maybe, I continue, it's just waiting for someone to warm it up. He smiles, The kind that starts in the eyes and ends somewhere dangerous. Poetic. Don't get used to it. He steps closer, sets the wrench down, and leans against the same fender. Our arms brush. Small, ordinary, and everything. For a moment, the garage is all the world we need. Then he says, "You are my engine, Marlo. You just run a little hot sometimes." I grin. Keeps the system honest. "Maybe," he says, voice soft. But I'm not complaining. We stand there a while longer, watching the reflections blur as the light shifts. Outside, the city keeps spinning. Inside, the machines rest, quiet and alive. Freedom, I think, doesn't always roar. Sometimes it hums,